right into it this week. Let's not goof off too much because I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of things we'll talk about. I think we have some topics for the week that we will spend some time talking about. This is over. The end. We're done. And by that, I mean this podcast and this brand are potentially over, or at least some of our involvements in it are coming to an end.
It's an indefinite hiatus.
Yeah, you know how we had that hiatus before this episode? Well, now we're going to take a longer hiatus.
One that's indefinite.
Yeah, so if you've been consuming our stuff for the past year since we've launched, it's almost been a year since we started this whole thing up. We've kind of been away for the past few weeks with all of our shows. I think some of us, Max and myself, have especially just been exhausted lately, I think, with just this whole podcasting process. If any of you, if you're not familiar with this whole ordeal and this is your first episode, well, sorry.
Yeah, if this was your first episode.
If this is your first episode, check out Search Model Citizens Media on YouTube. Check out all the archive videos.
Yeah, search on YouTube. There you go, because
it lives on there.
The site will probably go down at some point.
Hopefully I don't forget about that.
Shut off auto renew.
Yeah. Cancel that before.
That was my first idea, by the way, when you asked me to come up with ideas. It was to just cancel that. We don't need it.
Yeah, can't turn that off. So yeah,
let it die.
When did we launch this? Was it March of last year, I think?
It was the March 28th after my birthday.
There we go. That was very specific.
You remember?
Yeah, that was my birthday.
Oh, Robot Man.
Yeah, you remember my birthday?
It's been fun. I have enjoyed this program. It's probably been my favorite one to do, honestly, just because of how chill it has been. And I know, like we said, that has kind of led to some bad episodes at times because it's a little bit too lax and there's not enough going on. But this has been fun. I've enjoyed doing this with all of you. And as I said, I have no doubt we will do something akin to this again in the future. So it's not goodbye forever. It's farewell for now. And
at least publicly, it's public.
Yeah.
Like before, we'll still talk.
Yeah, public. So it's not. Yeah,
it's behind.
We'll still
the
talk.
Pixel. Huh? It's behind the Pixel because
we're gonna end it on a bad Max pun or whatever that was.
Max,
anyway.
It's beneath the Pixel. Get it right. You don't even know the name of your show.
And on that note, thank you so much for listening. If you ever tuned in, we appreciate it. We hope you have a wonderful time with whatever your life might entail. Until next time, we've been the Model Citizens. Take it easy, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Model Citizen Show. However many years later this is. I think we're 3 years later, 4 years later. The long dormant podcast that one Max Roberts, who is here, once killed, his return from the grave. I'm Logan Moore. We'll talk more about how this show is coming back today. Joining me is Max Roberts, the podcast killer.
Does this mean I have to change my Twitter bio?
Yeah,
I would love you to do that.
Thing to my Twitter bio.
You killed a lot of podcasts, so you technically there's like still 3 more in the grave, even though this one's been Frankenstein back to life. So,
okay, all right. As long as my Twitter bio remains untouched, I'm content.
Michael Ruiz is here with Aquaman behind him. Hello.
Yes. I'm a big fan of washboard abs. So.
He doesn't even have any abs in that picture. He chose a bad picture.
They
don't look well defined. It's a very low resolution JPEG.
It's a low resolution image, and he has tattoos covering them.
I think it's more the tattoos thing that probably.
I'm not saying that Jason Momoa is not shredded. Yeah, but that picture is probably not the most shredded.
He's got beer abs. Like.
Yeah, he drinks a lot in that film. Although he drinks like hard alcohol, I think.
So no, he drinks a Guinness, doesn't he?
He slams a bottle at one point. I think that's
slams a bottle and
Jack?
Drinks a Guinness.
And then they play Icky Thump,
yeah,
or whatever.
Speaking of drinking, Jason Momoa tradition. I'm drinking beer right now.
There you go. There you go.
Mario Rivera's here.
That's right.
Recording everything this time. Our setup has gotten better over the years, sort of.
Yeah.
I have a computer and not a MacBook that has a shot battery that I'm recording everything from on my end this time. So
no,
Mario's running everything. Mario has the same shirt on that he wore in our last episode.
That's right.
So he wanted to let you all know he has
Mario
the same
actually
shirt.
hasn't
See,
changed
there you
out
go.
of that shirt.
Boom. There it is. I
since
know.
the final episode.
I've been so distraught that I've had to make sure that I wear this shirt every day for the rest of my life. But I'm glad it's back. I can change.
Been waiting for this moment.
And then, speaking of waiting for this moment, we have a new model citizen with us. Wow.
I count 4 heads.
Yeah, there's four images in the podcast logo, but there's 5 people on this show now, I guess, unless some of us miss some episodes where we bring other people in. This is Grant Callahan. Hi, Grant.
Hi.
Grant and I used to be roommates. We grew up together and went to school together and stuff like that. Grant was around when this show died.
I was going to say, Grant was actually always in the background.
Yeah.
Sort of. I don't remember how you...
present spirit.
Yeah, like even after to shed some light on all of this, I guess, we've always had like a Discord that's just been us four. And then over the years, other people have slowly invaded it, a couple people.
Yeah, very
I don't
slim
even remember
few.
how the other people got in. But yeah, Grant was one of those people that's always been around. So now he's going to be on the show moving forward because why the heck not? It's not like we do anything of importance here other than just talk like we normally would do anyway. So, hello. Okay, what should we talk about? Why we're bringing this back? I guess
let's get into like why we're even doing this in the first place again.
Because we absolutely hate each other, so we want to gather every time.
I mean, I kind of just said it, but we've always still like been in this Discord and we all talk to each other regularly.
It's still called the Model Citizens.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, it's still called the Model Citizens Media Server or whatever. We've like joked over the years about bringing it back a couple times, and then for some reason this time somebody just joked about it. And everybody's like, "Yeah, okay, we'll do it now."
I honestly
was not consulted on any of this.
This is
I was
true.
just told, show up.
Hey, you're gonna be there, all right? At least for the first episode, and whatever you want to do afterwards.
Well, you were told you don't have to edit any of them, and you just have to show up and talk some. And I think
was just told that 20 minutes ago.
Exactly.
Honestly, and this is what I think what really caused it is that we were doing this before anyone else was doing this for years. We learned about a pandemic before a pandemic showed up and actually did the workforce then. So yeah, we just knew how easy it was, and so yeah, we just did it. We just came back.
Yeah, so we're not going to come back with all the other shows too. It's just going to be this. We're not doing a full network.
Is back and we're adding 20 other shows.
Real quick.
Hey, let's do a podcast network. And
is this Grant here in the background?
It is.
There we go. He's always been here. He's always been on the podcast.
It's true. I think we only recorded, I want to say, like 2 or 3 shows in that apartment though before we ended it.
Yeah, you had a green screen
very quickly.
Yeah, you had a green screen before. I remember that.
Yeah, you used to have the green screen because that was set up at my parents' place. And then
what did we do the Smash Brothers tournament thing? What did we?
Wasn't that on the Dual Shockers Twitch or something?
Was that on Dual Shockers or was that?
Yeah, that was on the Dual Shockers Mixer page actually.
Mixer.
I can't believe we did that.
Oh god.
I can't believe that we didn't.
2019.
I can't believe that we didn't download it. That's the thing in my brain that I'm like, did my brain rot out of my head? Why did I not? Because you could download the stream, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I just absolutely did not. So that's just lost in a Microsoft server somewhere for the rest of forever.
Some vault.
Yeah, that was very good. We should do that again someday when.
Swamp
I don't know.
Baby.
I was gonna say when a pandemic doesn't exist, because that was our original idea. Like, oh, when the pandemic's over, then we'll do it. And then You know,
We were.
I don't
weren't
think
we
the
originally
pandemic's
going to
ending,
get
folks.
Together in April of 2020, wasn't that the original?
We had
Yeah.
there was like some big plans for
There
it.
was big plans. I rented out a giant cabin in Nashville, Indiana.
What?
That could like have like 20 of us, and there was a hot tub at it and everything. I was like, this is going to be fun.
we were gonna buy new trophies. I
And now
think.
it's almost
Yeah.
April of 2022.
Exactly. And now we're still hiding
Did
in
you
our
get a
apartments.
refund? Did you get a
I
refund?
did. Yeah.
Okay,
I
good.
did.
Good. It makes me feel so much better. And I can
No,
actually
they're
attend
like,
the stuff.
sorry, you should have planned for the pandemic in mind, is what they said.
Nah, I got the refund fully. It was only going to be like $2,000, I think, total for that weekend.
I'm still waiting on a refund for SmackDown tickets from 2020. Like they still haven't. Ticketmaster's still trying to hold me up for that. So I'm happy for you, to be honest.
I didn't have tickets to anything bought in 2020 because I was very poor at the time that happened.
I did. I had Riot Fest tickets, but I ended up going.
Yeah.
I saw some people who had like Rage Against the Machine tickets, and they delayed that tour again to next year. That's 3-year gap that people have
They
had tickets
delayed certain shows to next year.
Yeah. Like I'm
they're-
still gonna be able to see
better
them this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll still go see them this year, but yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We're bringing this back just because so the other thing about bringing this back is, I guess, to talk about the format and what we're going to do with this. What we're going to do with this is a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
We're not really making this a mass market product that we're trying to get people to listen to necessarily. So if you are somebody who wants to listen to this, thanks and congratulations. But this is more just something we're doing for
Personally, this is
I
me.
think
We're coming back just so we can spite OK Beast Irrational Passions and start doing shows again. Because
be the podcast network that survived.
yes, yes, love
Did
you,
we survive?
Alex. Don't kill me.
I feel like one part of it is that like we kind of talk in this Discord channel like
All
pretty
the time.
frequently, like
Yeah.
a lot, and like the idea of like we're basically just recording our Discord discussions, basically.
Basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then we have a few like ideas in terms of like little topics here and there. So maybe at some points there will be like topical stuff like we did I always remember the cereal mascot battle royale or stuff like that. Like I think there'll be occasions where we have that. There's a few segments, or by few I mean there's one segment Logan and I want to do, and we'll do that today.
Yeah.
That we'll do every podcast. The other thing too is that we're not going to do this nearly as frequently
Yeah.
as we did.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, this is going to be like a monthly show.
Yeah, you will not get 52 episodes, which we only lasted 36 of the last route. You'll get 1 or 2, maybe.
Maybe,
Yeah.
It may be 12 episodes total in a year.
We've
Yeah.
committed to like one a month at a minimum, but outside of that, we've also, I don't know, like we don't know how much we're gonna like doing this again, and
Sure.
there might be certain things where it's like, oh, the Batman's out, and we all want to talk about that movie for 90 minutes or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll just do a dumb podcast where we talk about stupid one-off things like that for some reason, just because we want to, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be also honest, all of our lives have changed since the podcast in a lot of ways. I mean, at the time, Logan was in college. I was basically homeless. Mike and both Max were not married at the time, if I'm not
No, Max
mistaken.
was.
Well, he
Max
just got
was
married.
married.
We just got
I
married, and
just
then
got
we
married.
ended. Like almost like
Yeah,
after
We
that.
ended after the dog, which would have been in the front half of 2018.
Got it. So like all these things have changed. You know, Grant, of course, has always been here doing his thing. Whatever you do. Where are you currently, Grant? I don't even know what background that is. Are you in a restaurant?
Yeah, I'm in a
Stray
restaurant.
sheep.
The stray sheep from Catherine.
Ah, of course you are. Of course you are.
Good game.
I mean, you say a lot's changed, but not a lot has also changed.
I mean, well,
Facial
I
hair,
think
that's
all of
about
us,
it.
Max and I are both out of games media pretty much entirely right now.
Yeah.
Certainly not paid for it.
Yeah.
Max works for
Yes.
the mouse. That's different,
Yeah,
I guess.
Max works for Disney. I work at a brewery. So those are very different.
I work
things.
for Paramount.
Yeah.
I don't.
Logan's a big time journalist for Paramount.
Yeah.
Comic book, and Mario's doing a lot of. I mean, Mario, would you consider it like freelance work? I'm not quite sure.
I do have a sort of ongoing relationship over there at Tech Raptor, but pretty much freelance video editor for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, you've been on like since then. You've been on like a few different like podcasts here and there. Like you were Kind of Funny. You've been on.
I cherish this so much that I made my own podcast network somewhere else, which of course you can find. Which I want to talk about where we're going to host this. That honestly could be joining that if you wanted to. But at the same time, very much, I've been trying to keep myself busy from that time because this was fun. If I'm not mistaken, I think I edit the. I don't even know how we did the process. Did I do anything last time? I watched the videos and I'm like, what the fuck did we do?
No. So back in the day, Google Hangouts used to be.
That's
through
right.
YouTube. So you could just go live, and it would just auto-publish to YouTube afterwards, and then we would just add the thumbnails to it.
Got it.
It was just basically a recording of a Google Hangout. And then Google ended that, like they'll probably do with Stadia at some point soon, because Google ends everything other than their search engine. So, yeah, they killed that off. So now the way we have to do it is a little bit different. But like you said, Mario, way easier methods to do this stuff now anyway. So.
I learned so much from my time. Obviously, in the pandemic, really helped me learn my skills a little bit more, especially for broadcasting. And then you guys, I don't know if it's not been mentioned, you guys brought me on to where you guys were working before, which was Dual Shockers.
Dual Shockers for a while, yeah.
And did a lot of videos there. And we wanted to do more conversations there, like kind of podcasty stuff. And we did. We sort of shoehorn our way into doing it. So I learned OBS. And that's basically how we got all this process going. And now we have all these like fancy borders, a new logo, which we should talk about the new logo for sure. Because it does not look like what I did, which was, I think, an MS Paint.
It was Impact Font.
I think I made the last one.
I think you did.
I'm pretty sure I made the original one.
I think
which was probably just in like, I think I would have made it in like Illustrator or something, Adobe Illustrator maybe. I can't remember.
Yeah,
it wasn't great. I just found a low res PNG of a person on like that you'd see on like a bathroom door or something.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, we'll just make 4 of them, and then
there it is, right there, so you can see it.
The show title.
What happened? What'd you do? Shit.
We got Max.
Damn it!
I'm just not gonna answer any.
Max could not talk.
Max was so confused, and I was like, just say this man's name. The funniest part is that the way that we got Max is so stupid. Grant said a fake alcohol fact. It was, did you know Bruce Willis was one of the people who popularized alcohol in America?
Oh my god.
But I didn't say his name for maybe
a minute
or two. Like
we had to keep it going.
And I said, I want to see gameplay on this.
I was like,
I gotta look up a video, and that's
does Bruce Willis even drink in a lot of his movies? I don't think
he made it mainstream, bro.
You honestly, Grant, you actually inceptioned that in my brain because I'm like, oh yeah, he was in a cocktail movie, I think. Like I thought about it. God damn it. Anyways, slow jams can go. We're recording again. We've been recording for the last 2 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Everything was fine, by the way, Mike. So we're good. We can just continue right where we left off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. What was the next thing I was going to say? I'll lead us back in. Let me think of what I was going to say, though.
Do you want me to play it all out?
I think I was just going to... No, I think I remember what I was going to say.
You're talking about the making the logo.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the podcast is back. We had some technical difficulties. We haven't been recording for the past 5 or 10 minutes. That's why Mario now has a pizza that materialized in his mouth. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, expect this show to just be us goof around on a monthly basis and talking about whatever the heck we want to talk about. And
yeah,
I think the thing I told you guys before when we talked about this a couple weeks ago, I don't know if Max was there, but I think everybody else was. But like the things I always liked about our podcast is that they were kind of like a time capsule of like our friendships with each other. Like that was the thing I always liked about even like back when Max and I used to do Millennial Gaming Speak too. Like that was obviously a show that had a point and things we were doing, and we were talking about games and stuff like that. But that show's like really was kind of the basis for why Max and I became close friends and stuff like that. I feel like that was the same here with
Definitely
this show. Like obviously I knew Michael more because you and I had worked together at various places, but Mario, we didn't really know you until we were like, hey, come do this dumb thing with us. And then you're like, okay, sure.
But that was
so like
funny thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then I was just like, hey, we should just ask Mario to do this because Mario seems like a nice young man. And so sure. And so this has always kind of been like the thing that like made us friends in the first place. So I think just bringing it back just to have some sort of, I don't know, time capsule of our lives in certain phases of whatever the heck we're going through. Like eventually, I don't know if we keep doing this long term enough, which I imagine we probably can now since the barrier of entry is much lower than spitting out one of these a week at this point. I mean,
trying to get
also,
that
I mean,
YouTube
it's
money.
that and our expectations of everything. Like, you know, again, like I have a job. Like we all are working full-time jobs. Well,
fun. No, I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just saying yes, jobs.
It's
now.
such a great feeling.
We're all busy people, and we have other things to worry about other than recording a podcast once a week. But at the same time, I do like talking to all of you guys, and I feel like a lot of the times we do talk. I mean, we end up talking about something dumb or whatever, and I think it's always fun, and we're basically just recording it.
Yeah.
And like you said, Logan, like this is just a time capsule for us to like maybe, you know, when we're 80 years old and looking back and our children want to see what we did on our free time. We fucking recorded.
I mean, that's honestly one of the reasons.
It's kind of great. It's kind of funny. And I don't know, like
Dad,
that was one of the
tell
reasons
me what
why
Uncle Logan's doing these days.
Yeah.
I mean, I have never even been anywhere close to having children ever, let alone getting somebody to go out on like more than 3 dates with me in the past couple of years. But back when we used to do that stuff all years ago, that I did think about it with that in mind. Like, this would be cool if like this still exists on the internet if I had kids one day. And then they're like in their teens and they're like, wait, you used to have a podcast? And you could just show them like what it used to be like.
Yeah.
I think that would be really, I mean, over the course of the show, if we do this long enough, maybe there'll be episodes where Max has a kid and Mike has a kid and Grant gets a coffee shop and I get married and Mario works at IGN or something. Like, I don't know, like those touchstone moments of our lives, I think would be cool to like chronicle on this podcast over the years.
I mean, I think it's very important to say that, like, I mean, I feel like this is more, and it sounds selfish and kind of whatever, but I mean, this is more for us than it is for anybody else. To be honest.
Yeah, that's what I said at the top.
Like
if you want to watch this show, more power to you, but we're not really doing this as something that like people will be like, oh, I want to listen to the show.
We're not going to give you the hottest takes on the newest shit that's coming out or whatever. Like,
they pay me money to do that now.
Yeah, like, I mean, that might come up every so often, but like, we're just here to just shoot the shit pretty much, and maybe do a little bit of topics here and there. And I don't know. I'm with you guys where like I enjoy just talking with you guys. I think, you know, the most fun I've ever had with podcasting in general has been recording stuff with Max and Logan and Mario. I haven't really recorded anything with Grant really, but I love talking to Grant. Is always the first one to come in when I'm like, oh, I'm in chat. I'm driving home from work. Grant's first person to always come in.
Exactly.
Grant has great facts too about how like Bruce Willis popularized alcohol in America.
That's what I do every time I join the chat. I just have to say a trivia fact, and then I leave.
Yeah.
Grant, give us a trivia fact right now.
Oh no!
Right. Give us a coffee fact.
A coffee fact. That's easy. I can do that all. Where'd it go?
How many of these do you actually have written down?
23 right now.
What do you? I could give you a coffee fact right now.
Did you know Beethoven was very particular about his coffee, and each cup he had to be made from only 60 beans?
I'm not falling for it, and I don't believe you at all. No, I don't believe that. That sounds so fake. I don't care if that's a real fact or not.
Do you guys know how coffee was discovered?
A goat, you told me.
It's
Colonialization?
Yeah, it's a goat. Was it 800 AD?
Somebody's goat ate some coffee beans and they were very energetic, and that's how they found out about coffee beans.
They're like, wow, my goat ate this and it did something to him. I should do it now.
That's how that's the legend of coffee beans. I don't know if that's really true or not.
Max, real quick, I do want to get your perspective on all this, because I know that we're joking around saying you killed it, but to be honest, it was probably just a lack of all of us having the, adult lives were coming through.
Adult lives came crashing down on us, I think. More so for Max at the time than a lot of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
We made the mistake of turning our tax return into a puppy when we weren't ready for that.
I did a stimulus into a puppy, so.
I got my dog for free, so that was great.
Me too. I got my cat for free.
Well, you guys are all far more successful at the animal thing than I am. But we definitely were in a period, all of us were in a period of transition, and I think me and Logan, I think to a degree, wanting to stop millennial gaming speak, I think kind of started to break down the rest of it. Behind the pixel, insert beneath the pixel, if you will.
Yes, thank you.
Getting guests was difficult for that. So that show had its friction. Reeling in the years only happened when major musicians died. So
that one was just
slow down at the
real reason that one wasn't done as much is because that was like a research intensive podcast, and we needed to do that. One took a lot more work beforehand. Like with Model Citizen Show, it was just like, what are we going to talk about today? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Slap the dumb record button and we'll just talk for an hour. That show was like, what year do we want to do? Cool. Now let's listen to a bunch of music from this year over the next course of the next year or whatever, of next couple weeks.
Yeah.
It was way more involved than I think we both thought it would be. And while I think it's like, it was a good idea, I don't think we're the people to do that.
I think the idea is really good, actually.
Yeah,
I think that was like a very good idea for a podcast, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I think the idea is great. I don't think we're the people who should be doing that podcast.
I think it was our most successful podcast, actually, too. There are some videos on our YouTube channel that have thousands of views only on those.
Let me look.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I'll look now. I'm still looking there on the
channel.
So,
that show, research, death, didn't go off. And then, the Model Citizen Show, it wasn't consistent enough. Schedules were not concrete. There wasn't this is the day and time that we all get together to record the show.
We also bullied the fuck out of you, Max.
I mean, that hasn't changed.
It wasn't. Yeah, no, it's changed. It's definitely like, I know for myself, and I feel like I'm definitely the guy who bullied Max the most and the worst. You definitely turn it on sometimes, when you record shit, and especially at that time when we were hungry to get onto content and like try
before you and I were jaded, Mike.
Yeah, before we were jaded. You try to play a character or whatever. Like, I feel like that was like a thing, and I was a dickhead, and I'm good at being a dickhead. So that's what I went to. I legitimately went to your wedding, Max, and I've told you this before, and I went to your mother and I said, I apologize for making fun of Max so much. And she said, you deserve it.
Yes. So I mean,
you had it coming to you.
And this is my wedding.
This is his wedding.
Yeah. I think you had gone by then. I think you had actually left in the limo, and then we were just still sticking around talking to people.
Yeah, we were talking. Yeah, we were talking to your mom for a bit. That was fun, actually.
Yeah. I don't remember a lot of that day because that wedding was followed by a 14-hour drive back home.
You guys did not need to do that.
We drove there. We went to the wedding and then drove back home. Like, we didn't.
That was it.
We didn't really sleep at all. But
you decided to do that.
It was a good decision.
Ultimately.
Yeah, it was a great decision. Ultimately,
it reminded me of the Scar Tissue music video from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Not Road Tripping?
No,
I think you're thinking Californication. Is the one you're thinking?
Me? No, I'm thinking of when they're in the car and they're all disheveled and got scars. I think that is Scar Tissue.
No, yeah, you're right. Never mind.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Reeling in the years, coming back.
Yes. But going back to it,
Wait, does that mean one of the Red Hot Chili Peppers died?
no.
Might as well. They have a new
Not
album.
yet.
It wasn't that great.
I'm surprised they haven't yet. But
Yeah.
mostly John Frusciante. I'm surprised he hasn't died yet.
I think Flea's dong sock died. I don't think he's used that in a while.
Oh wait, one of them died a long time ago. Halil died like years ago.
There you go. Ahead of his time.
The original guitar player. Anyway, yeah. Now that none of us are really hungry for that. I mean, maybe Mario's definitely pursuing this career.
Yeah,
for sure.
We're not. We were looking at I made the joke earlier about OK Beast and Irrational Passions. I think we were looking at them and we're trying to we want to be that, but we want to be successful. We want to release these episodes and get higher numbers and people to go. We were really starving for it, and I think that at a certain point when the returns was not as high as we were immediately expecting it to be, it might have contributed to some of it. But
we looked at it as resume building too.
That too. Yes.
But then the problem is, I think Max and I started podcasting, I think before it became mainstream.
Yeah.
I remember when we started, if I told people I had a podcast, they were like, wow, you do a podcast? That's really cool, actually. Yeah. Now, if you told somebody you had a podcast in 2022, they'd be like, yeah, cool. I know 6 people who do one.
Yeah.
It is very, very prevalent now to just, I'm in my mid-20s and I just want to do a podcast for some reason.
It was the same thing. I don't know if I ever said that stuff in podcast, but I tried doing a whole website thing and do video game reviews and stuff like that on my own. Yeah. Before even before that, I had a group of 5 friends that I did a bunch of stuff with, and it just didn't end up working out or whatever. I did that stuff before I met you guys even. When I did the PlayStation, right before I did PlayStation Insider, I did my own website and had a couple podcasts here and there that we did. And it was more just a learning experience at the end of the day. But, the nice thing about now, doing this podcast now and stuff is that I don't feel any pressure to try to be on or anything. I just feel like I could, be myself and not make fun of Max all the goddamn time. I just feel like I could just say whatever and not have to worry about anything or try to be part of some sort of industry or part of this thing. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy with what I'm doing, and I don't necessarily need this to grow or anything. I'm just happy to just talk to you guys, basically.
Oh, for sure. Max, you were gonna say something?
I was just saying I just pulled up the first podcast I ever did was apparently in May of 2008.
Jeez.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Wow. You really took what Steve Jobs gave you and ran with it. Didn't podcasts kind of start with Apple?
No, they just became the most popular database. All a podcast is an RSS feed.
Well, it became really prevalent because of iPods and stuff like that.
iPods and stuff. Yeah, apparently we talked about Brawl versus Melee, Mario Kart Wii.
That's a relevant topic in 2022.
I was going to say nothing has changed.
In Mario Kart, yeah.
Nothing has changed.
Rock Band Wii, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon,
Band Wii,
Guitar Hero DS. Yeah, apparently that's what we talked about.
Nice.
To kind of go back and touch on what Michael was saying too, Max has been the person we've made fun of for years, and he killed it. You totally didn't, because you were the one who I guess kind of brought up the conversations of hey, I think we should not do this anymore. Mario did not want it for sure.
No.
No. Michael, I think you were on the track to getting married that year. I
was getting married, and there was just a lot of stuff.
You were trying to get married. You were also trying to still do the games media thing, which you were focusing on. I was
doing school. I was because Starbucks. I was working at Starbucks at the time, and they I'm not gonna say how I used the money, but they paid for my schooling technically.
Yeah.
And so I was going to college. I barely planned the wedding. Amber planned the wedding. She deserves all the credit for planning the wedding.
It was a very nice wedding.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice. Tomas was there.
Tomas was there.
There's a photo of it.
I think it's still his Twitter banner.
Yeah, it is.
Is this his Twitter banner?
So weird.
I write for Inverse.
I write for Digital Trends.
Yeah, so like I was getting married, I was writing still with Dual Shockers a little bit, I was going to school, and then trying to do this stuff. It was just like a lot of stuff at one time.
I had just graduated. We stopped doing the show, I think, in January, I want to say, of 2018. I had just graduated in December of that year. Grant and I moved in together. It was like late November, wasn't it? It was like November. It was like around Thanksgiving that I think we moved.
Our last episode was on February 13th, so actually almost hit the anniversary of that.
Okay, so yeah, like I had just graduated, and then after I graduated, I had started a full-time job. So I was like getting used to living on my own, getting used to not having a flexible schedule.
Yeah.
With college, like it was like a 40-hour work week that I was adapting to. I was really depressed at that job too, because it was
I remember
every single the line in Office Space or whatever, where he's like, every day I realize every day when I wake up, it's the worst day of my life. I hated working at that job. It was like every day was like more and more miserable. And I thought I was alone in feeling like that until I left. And then I found out like 6 people that I worked with left like within 3 months after me. I was like, oh, okay. So we were all very miserable here. This makes sense. Anyway, that job sucked. So it was just like, I don't know. Yeah. Max didn't kill the podcast.
No.
But I definitely took credit for it.
Yeah, you definitely took credit for it.
Yes.
I definitely
you were the scapegoat for sure.
I do want to bring up the fact that I'm very proud of what we were able to do with that small period of time, specifically to you, Max, because my God, you've gotten some of the biggest names for one of the smallest podcasts in the world in terms of Pierre Schneider, Grand Pooh Bear, and you even did something with the Yacht Club, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a couple of guys from Yacht
Daniel
Club.
Dwyer.
You did Daniel Dwyer on here?
Yeah.
I'm in one of his videos. That's awesome. And by the way, the highest rating video that we have is Reeling in the Years with 7K.
2K. Is it 7K?
Hold on. Oh no, total views is 7K of all our videos. But you're right, it is that one specifically.
Yep, that's what I thought.
Is it the Kendrick one?
It's year 1985.
1985.
Really?
Yes.
That's so weird.
And then 1976 was behind it. And then actually the Kendrick one, I think, is our worst performing one.
Really?
That's bullshit.
Interesting.
So
the Rush one is the 1976 one, right?
Mm-hmm. And then we did one about In Utero and Nirvana in 1993 that did pretty well too.
Yeah, about 500. And then, of course, I believe it was your Grand Pooh Bear that actually did 1,000. So
that episode has continued to just steadily go up over the years too. I think the Grand Pooh Bear one, because
I see him more often too. Yeah,
because he's only gotten a little bit bigger, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's with Red Bull now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Shout out to Red Bull.
So yeah, I that's what this show is going to be moving forward. This first episode is just us. I don't know, talking about bringing it back. We have literally no idea what will happen from episode to episode. We are coming up with ideas for topics we want to talk about.
There is one segment we're going to do.
Yeah, there is one segment we're going to do here in 2 seconds.
Yes.
If we want to do this right now.
We're going to do this right now.
All right, let's do it right now.
I don't know anything, so I'm scared.
So this is me and Michael's brainchild.
Oh boy.
And and it involves young Maxwell here, as he is seen. So every episode of the show we do, Max, I'm sorry, we're putting this is just getting thrust upon you, and you're just going to have to deal with it. This segment is going to be called Max's Monthly Music Mission. And Michael and I are going to converge, and we're going to present you with, what did we decide? A single artist from each of us, and a list of
artist?
And a single artist from each of us, along with a couple of albums from that artist that you think you need to listen to. So you got to think, this is not hard. You have a month.
It's
so
music.
You have like 4 albums you need to listen to, maybe. But we're doing this, so I want to stress this. At least from my perspective, maybe over time this will grow if we can find out more about like what you like and things like that. But we're doing this because we know your taste. and we're trying to get your taste to expand a little bit. So we know what you're working within right now, and we're going to try to give you things that we think you should, that are similar to what you already like, to grow your taste. So we're not just going to be like, hey, Max, you need to listen to Rush's whole catalog. Go. Because we don't know if you'll like that. But if you start liking things that are Rush adjacent, then maybe we will tell you to do that.
Maybe.
Your first assignment is Steely Dan.
Hey, man. Steely Dan's great.
That's actually really good. You should go listen to Asia right now. I have my band.
I have mine too.
Do you want to go first? Max, and you have to, okay, this first episode is going to be different because you have nothing to say in response, but you have to write this down and come back to this. And the next time we're going to not only assign you homework, but you have to tell us what you think about the things we assigned to you. This is all about expanding your taste, sir. You should thank us.
Palette building. You got this.
All right. So I'll go first. The first one I'm going to pick again is Jeff Buckley.
There you go.
Jeff Buckley is the artist I want to recommend to you today. I feel like you would like them. You're a John Mayer fan. I feel like he fits in the same realm as a John
Mayerverse. Yeah.
He's part of the Mayerverse. Yes.
He's a solo songwriter who can play a guitar very well and has really good writing. And also does really good covers of songs when he does cover songs.
You could dance to his songs with your wife.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely could do that.
He's also kind of sad.
He's also he's pretty sad. And his
man does the Shrek song.
He does.
Yeah, that's his most famous song.
Yep.
He's the one that wrote the Shrek song?
No, Leonard Cohen wrote the Shrek song.
No, Smash Mouth did. What are you talking about?
He does the popular version of the Hallelujah.
Yes.
He does the very popular version of that. The two I'm going to say 3 albums. You could choose which 2 you want to do, though. But the one that you
died
have
young. So
he died very young. He died at like 28 or 20.
Drowned in a river.
Yeah, he drowned in a river.
Did not see that coming.
Yeah.
No.
And he was like a clean guy. I don't think he like really did drugs or anything.
I think he just went swimming and just a current pulled him under. Or something.
Yeah.
What's the worst?
Pretty sad. But I've always considered him one of the greatest singer-songwriters of all time, one of the greatest guitar players of all time. I think he's an amazing talent. But you should listen to the one that I will say you are required to listen to is the album Grace.
Is a Grace Legacy Edition acceptable?
That's more than acceptable.
There you go, Max. Right here.
Because honestly, his catalog is pretty small. Technically he's only had 1 album released while he was alive.
There's a bunch of like studio outtakes,
and that was Grace. Now, I would say his other like iconic release that he came out was Live in Cine, which is a live album that he did at like a coffee shop, actually, Grant. So,
wow.
Because he used to get like how he was introduced into the world was he was playing at coffee shops a lot. It was just him and his guitar. That's all. It's nothing else. It's no band or whatever. It's just him playing guitar and singing these songs.
Legacy edition. I guess
there's another Legacy edition one.
Grace is the one. Start with Grace for sure. Just start there.
What I'm saying is Grace is the one you should definitely listen to get kind of like an idea of like what he is. I think Live is Cine is really great though. I think that has some of the best recordings of some of the songs from Grace in there. There's some really good versions of those. The last one I'll say too is You and I, which came out pretty recently, but they're just recordings of there's some re-recordings or extended versions of songs that had come out before, but also some covers that he did pretty regularly. Like Just Like a Woman, his version of Just Like a Woman is very good. His version of the Smiths' The Boy with a Thorn in His Side is freaking amazing.
I didn't know he even did that.
Oh, it's so good.
Wait, that is the Smiths, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's like I like his version of that more than the Smiths version of it. It's like way more beautifully done. If you know Jeff Buckley's style, like it's way more beautifully done. So yeah, those are like the 3. You could choose 2 of the 3. I think the more digestible the 2 digestible albums there are Grace and You and I. But if you end up liking Grace, I would say go to Live at Cine, because I think there's a lot more really great versions of songs from
Jeff
that
Buckley is definitely like a weird one to recommend, though. I will say, or not weird, not a weird It's weird only because there is the way you have to consume his work is different because he died so young and he has such a smaller catalog. Like this would be like if you recommended, I don't know, what is another 1 or 2 album band? Like there's just not a lot to listen to. So the things
Vampire
that you
Weekend only has 4, and their 4th one just
like
came
the
out.
things that you are listening to are like Grace's studio album, and then there's like a lot of offshoot stuff that you kind of have to
I think you could technically say that he's kind of a one-hit wonder, but also
He
died. And also he did have like a few other like I feel like he's had some really great like hits from just that one album that have stood the test of time and also have been played at like on the radio and stuff like that. Like Last Goodbye is a very famous song. Lilac Wine was played at Starbucks a few times.
Which Starbucks?
Though I mean it's on all the Starbucks playlists at that time, so it would have been in there.
His Starbucks specifically, he put it on.
No, I one time played Mastodon at Starbucks.
All right.
That was during COVID times, though. So no one really.
So nobody was there. So that's perfect.
Yeah, but Hallelujah is like the big song that he did, and it's a cover technically.
The Shrek song.
He's also the son of I forgot what his dad's name is, but his dad was like a very famous folk.
Tim Buckley.
Tim Buckley, right? Yeah. His dad was also like an iconic folk and like a very influential folk singer songwriter. So he comes from that too. So he's more on the folky side, I would say, but
he's similar. I think John Mayer's like a pretty similar comparison. Yeah, he doesn't shred as much as John Mayer does necessarily, or I guess his shredding is more like understated.
It's a little different,
rather than just like I'm just gonna cut a guitar solo in the middle of this song now.
I feel like in order to understand, like, oh, Jeff Buckley's a good guitar player, you kind of have to play guitar, because I think if you just listen to it, it doesn't sound so complicated. But then when you actually try to play, you're like, what the hell? Like, why is this chord 7 frets long? But yeah, I think it's incredible. It's something I personally think that you would like a lot, and one that also that I really appreciate a lot. That I think this is, in my mind, like I'm not kidding when I say that, like, I think he's one of the greatest songwriters of all time. So that's all I'll say.
I added all 3 of them to the library, so the homework has been added to the collection.
Now my turn. Mine's much more straightforward. And this is already what I told you the other day. Tame Impala. Listen to Currents and listen to The Slow Rush. These are their 2 most recent albums.
Currents album, I think.
Yes, listen to that.
Wait, no. Yes, no.
Listen to Currents. Start with Currents. If you like Currents, you'll probably like The Slow Rush as well. They are both extremely good.
What was the other one?
The Slow Rush. It's their most recent album. It came out in 2020.
Not the B-sides.
No, I don't think so.
The B-sides just came out, I think.
The B-sides just came out. I think they're about to release like a 6 vinyl collector version of that in like a couple months. It's like $100. Thinking about buying it. That's like, those 2 albums are very good. I know some people like their older stuff a little bit more. I don't as much personally. I think it's still pretty good. But those are the 2 albums I think that you will like. It is a very good mix of, they are a hard band to pinpoint. It's like funk, electronic, like alt rock.
I think the best describer, like, description we had for it was like indie 9 Inch Nails was like kind of. But I know that doesn't sound great. Maybe to Max really, but
they're like knowing the things you like. I think Daft Punk is a weird comparison because it's not like electronic dance music or anything like that, but it's got this. A lot of their music has the same sort of like upbeat tempos to Daft Punk that I know you would like.
Would you compare?
That is why I think you would like this a lot. Listen to Current first. Just listen to that front to back. It's great.
Would you compare them similar to like a Danny Warhol's, but not like Not vocally, but the music, or even like a Foster the People.
Foster People maybe a little bit similar to,
Like in that vein.
Yeah, that kind of like I don't.
It's
I don't
indie,
even
but
know
it's
what to-
dancey.
It's dancey, but it also gets a little bit more like psychedelic. Like,
It's psychedelic for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like a new wave of music that I feel like has only come about. It's not new necessarily because it's inspired by a lot of other things. Yeah, I'd say like the past 5 to 10 years, there's been this like undercurrent of like music that's like heavily inspired by old school funk and psychedelic rock that's got like the flair of like new age tech and like the new age production behind it. They're really a hard band to pinpoint. They're kind of their own thing. Again, knowing the type of music you like with Daft Punk and dancey stuff, like it's definitely all upbeat and groovy. Groovy is probably the one way I would describe it.
It's very groovy stuff.
So I think you will like this a lot if you just listen to it. So there's your homework.
Yeah.
There's your monthly music mission.
Before you totally end this, though, I also want to add one thing. I want you to listen to one song, not an album, just one song. But I want you to listen to all the covers of it. It's Wicked Game by Chris Isaak. I just want to hear you listen to all the covers of Chris Isaac's Wicked Game. Just want to put that in there.
Max is either gonna love this or he's gonna hate it within like 3 episodes.
Well, it's just he just has to listen to like while he's doing his work or something.
Again, we're choosing things that I think he would like. I'm not being like, Max, you need to go listen to
Mars
Led
Volta.
Zeppelin's full catalog, or please get into Dashboard Confessional, or it's nothing like that.
Calm down. This is not the first time someone close to me has given me musical homework.
Good.
And I have to admit, it worked out very well.
Very nice.
In my college years, my dear friend Kevin, who I probably mentioned on previous Model Citizen Show episodes just offhandedly, huge into music, not unlike the rest of you. He would recommend albums or artists to me, and I would listen to them, and then we would discuss them. It was one album at a time, granted, but it also wasn't a month gap between it. But he introduced me to bands. The way I listen to music is I find something I like and I listen to that just keep listening to that forever.
Yeah.
So I mean, he introduced me to Vampire Weekend, who I still listen to this day quite often. Lord, Kanye was why I got introduced to Kanye from him. Sandre Lurke, just all sorts of stuff. So it's not the first time. It's worked out very well.
I think the idea behind it, and like Logan and I were actually just talking about this like before we were recording, was that I feel like we both have an idea of like what kind of music you like, and then we're gonna kind of like test the waters of like, like for example, like I just mentioned like Jeff Buckley, because you like Jeff Buckley, or if you end up liking Jeff Buckley, maybe I'll recommend something else because of that, or maybe I'll I know you like Phoebe Bridgers a lot, or you like that album by Phoebe Bridgers. Maybe I'll recommend something.
She sings a song with Taylor Swift.
Yes,
I was right. I thought that.
Yeah. So maybe because you like that thing, I'm like, okay, if you like that thing, maybe you'll like this thing. It won't like Logan says, like I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, you should listen to fucking Emerson, Lake and Palmer's trilogy right now.
That's music my mom likes.
Even though you like Pink Floyd, and that's I'm pretty sure you like Pink Floyd, right? I'm not wrong in saying that.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
Pink Floyd,
even though you like
Dark Side
Pink
of the
Floyd,
Moon,
and I feel
Wall.
like Emerson, Lake and Palmer's in that
What's
section,
that, Endless River.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, you should listen to Emerson, Lake and Palmer because you like Pink Floyd because they're both prog rock bands. It's more that like, for example, like I said, like you like John Mayer. I feel like Jeff Buckley fits into that same like kind of soft rock kind of feel.
I would say like even he fits in like if you like. I know you like Taylor Swift's more recent stuff that's come out the past couple of years too.
I would say
kind
it even
that.
It's
Reputation.
Of art. Well, I think more of the folklore thing. Yeah,
music is subjective,
Yeah, exactly.
Taylor
But
Red.
Yeah, it's the idea is that
Red
like
is-
we're seeing your other music tastes and we're recommending things based on that rather than like, oh, let's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna recommend you a Rush album because I like Rush.
We have your best interests at heart
Yeah.
here, is what we're saying.
Just like there's some really good music, and we want you.
We
to
need to
expand
get
on
you to
that.
listen to this, and the way we're doing it is we're holding you hostage via a podcast,
There
where
you
you
go.
have to come back and tell us that.
So
you
I'm
listened
not
to
gonna
it.
lie, I will be excited for the episode where you make him listen to 36 Chambers from Wu-Tang Clan. I really would love that.
There you go.
Look, I just listened. I listened to that
will
album
only
for
listen
the
to
first time.
Wu-Tan if someone supplies me with
Wu-Tan.
the Wu-Tan controller.
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang?
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tan.
It's Wu-Tang.
Tang? Like the space
Tang.
string?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, yes.
Well,
I listened.
someone has to
I
give me their
listened-
controller
They're-
for the PS1.
Max,
I
they're
listened-
no one to fuck with, so just be careful.
I listened to Wu-Tang for the first time a couple months ago,
For
Now,
the first time.
and it was amazing.
It's fucking
they
amazing.
are
It's so good.
East Coast rap is a different beast. Max
is.
likes West Coast rap.
Yeah,
Oh,
Max,
okay.
like,
So you picking the beef.
Max
Got it.
likes West Coast
I-
rap, and then he likes the stuff that's
Is
like
Kanye West Coast?
No,
No.
he's he's me.
Chi-Town.
He's Chi-Town. He's the center.
yeah,
Central.
he's us.
He's us.
What? So, I mean,
East
I
Coast
guess
rap is more
NWA, but I like what I can appreciate NWA. I don't listen.
like Dre, Tupac, or West Coast.
Yeah,
I've
Snoop
never
Dogg,
listened to
Easy.
any of them.
You
Yeah.
did. He's an
What is a
NWA.
Dre?
East
song.
Coast is more like East Coast is Jay-Z,
Puff
Nas.
Daddy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an East Coast
Biggie.
guy. I
I'm
like-
honestly probably
like East
closer to
Coast.
Jay-Z than any of
I like
those. but
East
I've
Coast
listened
is
to none of
more
them.
East Coast is more lyricism
Mhm.
and
Word
bars
play?
on bars on bars on bars. West Coast is often is more about like the hook, like
Well,
the
then
songs
I
that were
would
played
think
during
I'm
the
East
Super
Coast
Bowl.
based
Like
off this definition.
you would like East Coast more.
I think I do listen to East Coast more.
Maybe it just depends.
A lot of the stuff I listen to is all about.
I mean, it's not. That's not a hard thing though, because
Let's see.
Kendrick is a
Yeah,
West Coast.
I mean,
Kendrick would be West Coast,
Here
and
we
Kendrick's
go.
more.
Technically, Beastie Boys is East Coast.
Yeah, no, they were part of Def Jam. So yeah,
Yeah.
they're
Let's
East
see.
Coast. Yeah.
What is listed as hip hop and rap currently in my
Okay.
library?
Okay.
Run DMC East Coast. Public Enemy.
We've got there's a couple of different rap that breaks it up, so we'll go through real
There's
quick.
also South Rap.
We
So
got some Snoop Dogg,
that is West.
That's West.
Wiz Khalifa,
That is South.
but that's only because of the Fast and
That's
Furious.
bad.
I've got Lil Dicky, but that's only one
that's
song.
Connecticut.
That's more West Coast for sure.
That is
Well,
more
that's
West Coast.
well, it's only one song.
I mean, it's
and it's professional rapper, which features Snoop Dogg.
yeah.
True,
very
true.
funny.
You got to listen to Pillow Talk though. That is a fantastic song.
I've heard Bill talk.
Yeah.
Chitty Bang, Childish Gambino, Will Smith.
That's Florida. That's Miami.
I've got Kanye West, Mac Miller, Kid Quill, Eminem, Logic.
a lot of white people in that.
A lot of this doesn't fit into a certain box of East and West
Watsky.
Coast for sure.
Some of these are like internet
Dr.
famous.
Ock-
Eminem's from Detroit.
Yeah,
Well, it's not even
What you're
regional.
saying
It's
is I
more
listen
just
to
like
none of this.
he gets
Yeah,
thrown
it's
in the West, even though he's from Detroit.
Oh, you're right. It's not like
it's not a hard
Yeah.
science by any means. Especially a lot of
there's
the
your hard-
contemporary
Really,
guys.
really
are
West and
mixes of-
East were a defined era. Like it was like the
Yeah.
90s era for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah,
80s and 90s, I would say.
Yeah.
West
yeah.
Coast back in the like 80s and 90s was what was circulated on the radio more often, which is why like
Well, I think
you're
honestly,
talking to like rap snobs or whatever, you'll hear
I-
them say like Nas is the best rapper ever, pound for pound. But it's like name a Nas song that's played on popular radio regularly, and you really can't.
I would say the East Coast West Coast thing started because of Tupac and
Biggie.
Yeah.
and
They're the forefront
like-
of it.
that was the reason why that is even honestly a thing in my
Yeah.
mind.
Mhm.
The only reason I even know about that is because I listened to a podcast about it.
There you go.
Yep. Anyway, yeah, that was
Couldn't name
that
one
was-
song from them
be-
for you.
Before we get lost in the music, let's just end this segment.
Well,
right
yeah,
Before we
well-
start reeling in the years.
Yeah, well, before we start reeling in the years, let's just stop.
We'll try to keep this tighter in the future, so it's not like a full 30 or 45-minute segment of the show.
It was about 10 minutes. You did about 10 minutes of it. You're good.
I feel like we went longer, but
I'm looking at the time code. It's about 10 minutes.
okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see how Max does next time we talk to him.
I'm very excited for it.
Do we want to call it there for this one?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think we've gone about an hour total or so. Anyway, yeah. Welcome back to us. If you want to join us on this
Welcome back to us.
podcasting adventure, feel free to tag along. If not, again, that's fine. We're not trying to make this we're not trying to make this anything more than just something for ourselves, to be honest. So
yeah.
With that in mind, I don't even know if I need to say where you get. Where are we going to put the podcast? I guess is the main thing.
Well, we should have that talk, I guess, after the show. I guess
that's how early we are into this. So if you're listening to this, congratulations, you found it.
It's probably safe to say it's probably going to be on Spotify. Like it's probably be on a podcast service thing.
Yeah, they might offer us a really big contract like Joe Rogan and give us exclusive rights.
There
and then Neil Young will say, "No, I will not."
No, Neil Young will come back. He'll be like,
he'll come back.
He'll be like, I love that.
I don't know. You didn't
Citizens
recommend Neil
podcast."
Young in this inaugural.
Well, I can't.
Motivation homework.
Yeah, we can't.
Monday.
How are you gonna? No, wait. Max has Apple Music. We could.
I do have Apple Music. Spotify is the bad one.
Spotify's the bad boy now.
Maybe I should transition to Apple Music now.
Join
now that I'm
us.
an Apple boy.
You know what Neil Young can't do? He can't keep me from listening to this.
That's what he wants, though. Like,
Which is strangely the way I have to listen to Neil Young now is through a vinyl record sitting in my room.
It's good.
Rather than on Spotify. It's real weird that old man's not on Spotify anymore. Anyway, yeah, we'll put the show up places. We'll probably publicize this more on our Twitters and stuff like that if you follow us there.
Do any of us want to share any of the things that we're working on, even though like it's outside of this or outside, like I feel like.
Well, how about we all give our like goodbyes and where you can find us and then what we're doing. I guess we can do that, right?
Sure.
Logan, what do you?
Mario, you can.
I go first.
Mario, you can start. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I am that Mario Rivera. Well, I used to be on Twitter, but you can find me at Night Mute City.
Why is that your at now? I've never asked this.
Night Mute City. Honestly, it was the thing I was building in the background before the ban happened, where it was just going to be like a production company I was going to build. I was going to do one-off stuff, and it was going to be called Night Mute City. And so Night Mute City was already saved as a Twitter that I had. So I just transitioned over to that, and I didn't want to change it. So it's sort of like a fake production company. The name comes from a Christopher Nolan film. If you know a Christopher Nolan film, let me know.
I thought it was like Cyberpunk and then F-Zero put together.
I thought your account just got banned and you're like, what's a cool ass name I could come back to Twitter with? I'm Night Mute City. And I'm like, what?
What the fuck is that?
I legitimately thought that because like Night City is the dumb cyberpunk town.
Is the dumb cyberpunk town. Yeah.
And Mute City is the dumb track from F-Zero. So I thought it was that.
Night Mute is the town from Insomnia.
Yeah, let me combine Cyberpunk and F-Zero and I'll make that my Twitter ad.
I don't know.
It was more noir, but it is definitely sounding more cyberpunk by the day for sure. But you can also find me over at Point in Progress, where is my real podcast network that I do with a group of 5 people. It sounds very familiar. And we do podcasts over there.
Who are you cheating on in this situation now? Are you cheating on them for us, or is it the other way around?
I think
because technically you were with us first.
That is true. Polyamory is the thing. I'm just bouncing around everywhere I could possibly get,
There you go.
Yeah, so you can find me over there. Any secret project? I do have a secret project that I have not announced yet, and I think it will come out after this. I don't want to say it, but me and the homie Mike are working on something funny. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's where you'll find me.
Yep, you can find me at Grant.
Oh, Grant, you're so quiet. What happened to your voice?
Oh no.
Is your mic off?
Is that better?
No.
Oh my, what have I done?
I don't know. It sounds like your microphone's coming from a different source.
It should have always been.
Oh, now you sound
better. Move the microphone closer to your face.
All right.
Suck on that microphone.
No, you can find me at Grant_Callahan on Twitter, as that's the only Twitter account I now have.
Oh, really?
And yep.
You murdered Aqua?
I murdered Aqua. It is now sleeping
Put a bullet
away.
in it.
But you had an ape.
I had a bored ape. They advertised, I do not have a bored ape. I do not own NFTs.
That should be a goal of this podcast. We should buy an ape.
No. Let's get enough money to get on the blockchain. You can find this podcast exclusively on the blockchain.
Yes.
I want to buy a monkey.
But yes, I do have projects I'm working on. I am slowly working on a video game. I am slowly writing a book. I am slowly doing art things. And then
you're writing it. Is it called The Words Inside Me Too?
Yes, the direct sequel to that legendary book. But
I'm trying to find where I put it.
Oh, you already lost it?
No, it's somewhere on this bookshelf. There's just a lot of books.
Oh yeah, Mario has a physical version of the old book that we discovered on.
Yeah, you can find out whatever episode it is. Find where they talk about that marvelous book.
Episode
and buy it on
34.
Amazon. We'll put an Amazon link in the description somewhere, so you can buy this ebook and read these wonderful words. But that's it for me.
Exactly. Max and Michael, do you have anything you want to? We do our other show. Max and I do.
As a host, you're supposed to guide to whoever next.
So. Mike, do you have anything you want to promote? Because I don't even think you do, except for the thing you mentioned with Mario. Or wait, no, you've got the show with Ricky still.
Yeah. So I actually just posted the show right before this. Soon. Yeah. Well, okay. So Max, first off, you have to send me. I think you might have the wrong email address because I never got it. But yes,
you sent it to another Michael Ruiz.
Yeah, he sent it. Anyway, that'll be fine. They'll think it's funny. Whoever the other Michael Ruiz is. Yeah, you could follow me on. I don't even remember what my Twitter handle is at this point.
The Michael Ruiz.
Okay, I always remember the Instagram handle because I like my Instagram.
super underscore ruse.
No, it's actually just the Michael J. Ruiz at Instagram. You can also follow me on Twitter at the Michael Ruiz, where you could get all the sickest Gotham jokes in history.
That's right. Literally has a reward for it.
Yeah, I literally have a trophy for it. But yeah, definitely follow me on Instagram though. It's better. And then you could also check out bantambanter.com, where me and Ricky Freck of GamePer and IGN Guides and wherever else he's writing talk about
Dual Shockerman.
Yes, Max said is right. Where we talk about gaming stuff mostly, but we also do some really dumb stuff and some fun stuff. And the last episode we recorded, we've done like a couple episodes where what's it called? It's called a Brant Steele.
I think so. It's
thing.
like a Survivor.
Yeah. It's like a Survivor simulator, I guess, in a sense, and you could kind of type in whatever characters you want, and we're going to do a Nintendo one, and Max is featured in it. So he is our Nintendo professional, as Logan was the PlayStation professional, where we had a car as one of the Survivor guests. So yeah, you could check that out. But the newest episode that came out was like our most anticipated games for 2022. Similar to this, we kind of just release episodes whenever they come out. So, yeah. Anyways, you could check that out as well. Yeah, that's about it for me.
Okay.
Drink Phase 3 beer if you're in Illinois.
You can find me on Twitter at MaxRoberts143, and all my writing and projects are over at maxfrequency.net. Like Logan mentioned, he and I do kind of a show twice a year called Chapter Select, where it's seasonal. We pick a series of games, and we bounce back and forth between its entries, exploring their evolution, design, and legacy. Season 3 is getting ready to enter that production cycle soon, so that'll be out before the first half of this year. So you can check all that out. Just go to maxfrequency.net, and you'll find everything.
Yeah. That for me, and then I don't know. Just read. It's not even that I'm rusty. You can read my stuff on comicbook.com if you want to. I'm writing like 8 to 10 articles a day over there.
Sometimes I read your stuff by accident, and I'm just like, who's the guy that wrote this?
Clickbaited you on the Facebook, probably.
Son of a gun!
You do that every goddamn time.
Every damn time.
Are you kidding me right now?
We got you with the clickbait.
We got to get your pretty face on the TikTok.
We don't actually write clickbait, but we don't necessarily
Not
tell you every single aspect of a story in the headline alone, because then why would you read the story?
Yes.
It's very strange to me that people think if you divulge every single detail in the headline, if you don't divulge every single detail in the headline of an article, you've clickbaited people. No, that's just called, please read the 500 words that I wrote attached to the headline. Anyway, all my work's over there. I don't promote it too much on my Twitter or anything like that. I'm still at Moreman12. I don't know. It's just my job now. So if you want to read what I do every day, you can go find where it's at.
Read his wrongly scored review on Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
There you go.
5 out of 5. It's literally the only 5 out of 5 10 out of 10 score I've ever given. So yeah, that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining us. We will be back sometime to talk about something. That's our promise to you.
I do say though,
it's gonna at least be Jeff Buckley in the Marble album thing.
that's going to be in it, and I want to talk to Grant more. I want to know more about Grant since he is the newest.
We got to know more about this man. We got to know more about this man's 401k and how it's about to soon vanish.
Oh man, the many stories.
The next episode, the Grant Callahan biography, the words inside Grant.
We're gonna learn. We're gonna bring Craig into the next episode so we can learn all about Grant's upbringing. Get Craig on the show.
Oh no, we're not.
I'll at Craig on Twitter and tell him to come on the program.
Yeah. I'll also figure out your microphone. I don't know why you sound so far away right now.
Oh my gosh, it was fine.
It's Discord Nitro. It's
Discord Nitro.
We'll blame it. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, all right. We'll talk to you guys next time. It's good to be back. Sort of. Goodbye.
Farewell.
What's up, fellow citizens? My name's Logan Moore, and there's a good chance you have no idea who I am. 2 years ago, with my co-host Max Roberts, we created Millennial Gaming Speak, a weekly podcast that focused on all things video games.
While we have loved doing MGS, we have found that it's not enough to scratch our podcasting itch.
That's why I'm happy to announce today that with the addition of some new friends,
that would be me.
And me.
We're launching Model Citizens Media.
Now, you are probably wondering, what is Model Citizens Media? To put it in simplest terms, it's a new brand for the four of us to house various podcasts.
All extremely passionate about podcasting, and this was an avenue for us to create some shows going forward.
So at launch, we will have 4 shows that are housed under the Model Citizens brand, and the first of those is Millennial Gaming Speak. If you're an MGS listener already, then not much is going to change. The show will still be natively uploaded to SoundCloud every week, and you can always watch our streams live on YouTube.
We will also be launching our flagship podcast for our new brand, the Model Citizen Show. This is our conversational podcast where we can talk about anything and everything, from Max's proposal story to Michael's battles with diarrhea. It's going to be about everything, and so buckle up.
Logan and I will also be releasing a new music podcast known as Reeling in the Years. On the show, we'll analyze music on a year-by-year basis. Each episode will focus on a different year, and we'll probably pick it by random after each episode, so you'll never know what you're getting.
Lastly, I will be launching a new interview series called Behind the Pixel, where I talk to the most interesting people in the gaming industry. Sometimes I may be talking to a game developer, other times I may talk to a notable YouTuber or a journalist that covers the industry. It won't be a weekly show like the rest of our products, but I'm hoping to put out a new episode once per month.
And this is all just the beginning. We expect Model Citizens to evolve as time goes on, which means there's always potential for new shows and maybe even some unique written and video content.
Each of these shows can be found on iTunes, Google Play, and on our YouTube channel, where we record the shows live every week before they are later archived for you to listen at any time.
I know it's a lot of info to take in, so to keep things easy, just head over to modelcitizensmedia.com. There you can find all of our various podcasts and keep up to date with whatever else it is we're doing. You can also follow us on Twitter at ModelPods to stay in the loop for when we're about to record live on YouTube or when a new MP3 just went up on the site. This is a new venture for all of us, but it's one we're incredibly excited to take. We hope you join us on this journey because we think it's going to be a ton of fun. Until then, we hope to see you around.